What did I miss? Brian here, and today we got another video for the 4Runner. A while back I made a video on some small mods I did to my truck, and over time I added some more mods. So like in the first video, I'm grouping all the small mods I made and compiling it into one video. So this video will be more small mods that I did to my truck. So without further ado, let's get to it. I'm going to start off with the engine. So I added a breather filter mod because why not? I figured even though it's not making a lot of power, why not relieve some of the pressure that's being built up? So I disconnected the hose that was connecting the intake and the breather valve, and I found a thicker hose, an HVAC connector, and a breather filter, and I connected it to the breather valve. Though I didn't like the look of it, so eventually I removed it, got a longer hose, and then I routed it to the intake box. A while back I saw in a forum where someone with a Tacoma routed his breather filter into his intake box, so all the air coming out of it was going straight back into the intake. So I decided to do the same thing, and I routed my breather filter through the whole of this intake box. And with that, I plugged up this hole where the hose was running from the breather valve. That way the engine doesn't run lean. This next one is under, but I got a magnetic drain bolt. It was only $5 on eBay, and I figured, why not? It's cheap, there's a magnet at the end, it's the same exact dimensions as my OEM drain bolt, and it will capture all the metal shavings that are traveling within the engine as I'm driving. Now, I hope to not find any, and if there are, then the magnet will attract all the metal shavings, depending on the metal, and it'll get caught onto that drain bolt. I've seen videos of cars with magnetic drain bolts, and they seem to work. They seem to do their job, and I figured, why not? It's cheap insurance, and in the long run, it could help my engine perform a lot better. Now, I don't know if mine has captured anything, so I will find out on my next oil change. Right off the bat, you can see my fog lights are yellow. They were clear before, and over time I got tired of the look and I wanted to change it up a bit. And also, one of my fog lights was twitching, so I ended up having to replace that bulb. So I replaced that bulb and I tinted the fog lights with yellow film, and here they are. It looks really nice. Over here, it's really smooth and dead bugs. It was a really cheap and simple mod. I got the tint off of eBay for only $3, and all I did was I just peeled it off, I cleaned the surface, and then I applied the tint to the fog light. I went ahead and turned on the lights. Now in the daytime, it's not that bright, but in the nighttime, it's pretty noticeable and it looks nice. I like this new look, and I'm kind of glad I tinted my fog lights yellow. I'm not sure whether to call this a mod or a repair, but regardless, I had to do this one. I replaced the splash guards on both the front driver and passenger wheel wells because the stock ones, they were plasticky, they were really cheap, and they broke easily. And there's a point where one side did not have any of them, and it exposed the engine. And with that, I was running the risk of stuff flying into the engine and damaging it. So I went ahead and ordered what was called rad rubber designed splash guards, and they're a lot thicker rubber compared to the OEM ones, and they're still holding up to this day. They make them for the 4Runners, Tacomas, Tundras, I believe, Lexus GX models, Land Cruisers, you name it, all of the Toyota trucks and SUV lines. A while back I had my front bumper valence vinyl wrapped, but then over time it peeled up, cracked, flared up, and it got punctured. So I took it back to the place where I had it wrapped. It was known as Hello Wet Dips, but now it's known as Clutch City Customs. They removed it and they ended up plasti dipping that valence. It's got some dead bugs stuck to it, but it can easily be washed off. And if it cracks or peels, I could easily spray over it and it will patch up all those holes. Like the front, I also had the rear valence dipped, but with this one, I dipped it myself. There were some deep scratches caused by the previous owner, and they looked horrible, and it would result in me having to have the bumper repainted. And really expensive. I decided to just dip it instead and make it look not as noticeable and make it look more rugged too. So I taped off the bumper, taped off the tailgate, and I applied 7 to 8 layers of Plasti Dip. Now it looks a lot more rugged, and I like this new look. It matches the front as well. Going into the driver's seat, I got a voltmeter, and it's right next to my auto LSD button. Ever since I got my 4Runner, I have not had to change the battery, and I'm not sure whether if I should be impressed or concerned. So I got this voltmeter to help indicate if I'm at a low voltage or if I need to replace the battery. If it's below 10 volts, it will start beeping, and right now I'm sitting at 13 to 14 volts, which is pretty good. Installation was pretty easy. I just had to pull out the plastic panel under the steering wheel, get an add a fuse circuit, which is pretty easy to find, and crimp connect it to the red wire on the harness it comes with. For the black wire, I had to connect a ring type connector and ground it, and once I had everything connected, I got it working. Now for the voltmeter, I got it on eBay. It came from overseas, and it says it works for the Toyota Vigo, but in all honesty, it could work for the 1st gen Tundra, 2nd gen Tacoma, 4th gen 4Runner, the older model Lexus GX series, and the FJ Cruiser. So it's pretty compatible throughout most of the Toyota or Lexus SUVs and trucks. This one's not a mod, but for the license plate lights, I ended up putting back the OEM incandescent bulbs because the LED bulbs I had in here, they were twitching and one of them actually blew out. So I pulled them out, discarded them, and I put back the OEM incandescent ones. And I think from here on out, I'm going to keep these stock, just like the parking lights up in the front. This is the parking light in the front, and in my first small mods video, I stated that I switched it back to incandescent and how I'm keeping that stock. So for the license plate lights, I'm doing the same thing. So that's it for this video. These are more small mods that I did to my truck. If you're subscribed, thanks. If you're not, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Take care, everyone. I will catch you on the flip side.